like to tell you that there is so much value in communication. Do you believe me when I tell you that? It's what we need every single day. I mean, we have these sayings, communication is key. You know, there's no dumb questions except the ones that aren't asked. You know, it's communication, communication, communication. This is what we do. And I am here to prove to you today that there is value in your natural voice. And if you had a conversation with me at all today, you will know that most people do not even speak with their natural voices. It's terrible because the body is just so incredibly smart. It's awesome, right? But what it does is it tries to conserve so much energy, it makes us not talk in our natural voices, which actually has a negative effect. What happens when we don't talk in our natural voices? We shut our ears. It happens to everybody. We have the attention spans of a goldfish, like less than a goldfish now, which I think is super scary, right? But it's true. And if we are giving people reasons to turn away from listening to us, ugh, right? So we got to bring them back. Always, always, always trying to bring them back. Now, there is value in being the authority in your story. And we're going to talk about that today. Because honestly, how many times have you met somebody that just talks for no reason? Oh, yeah. Yes. I think we all are related to one of those. But the truth is, and I am not politically correct all the time, okay? So I tell people, I'm like, learn to shut up. It's really important. You know, if you are not the authority, you got to stop talking, okay? Because what happens? Well, we'll get into that. All right. So treating others with value, super important. If you're not treating others with value, you're really missing the mark, okay? It doesn't matter if it's the CEO or the janitor. You got to treat everybody with value because you never know what they are going to bring to the table. It's really important. And the value in listening. How important is that? How many people know how to listen? Pretty good. I know. It's a constant learn, isn't it? So important. So I am going to go through some of this stuff, and we're going to start out right now. Thank you. I remembered. See? You can teach people. All right. Are you the authority when you speak? How many people feel that they are? That's not bad. Okay. All right. So when you speak, you should be the authority. And just because you are the authority doesn't always mean you should be speaking. Okay? If you are not giving your stuff as a gift, why are you speaking? Right? Because that is where the world can change for you. You know, we have people that are so educated and they know all the right things, they do all the right things, but they still can't get ahead. And why is that? Because they are not giving their gifts as a gift. They are trying to get the money. They're chasing the money. And I've heard a lot of people here today say they're not chasing the money. It's not about the money. Money's nice, sure, absolutely. But you are giving it as a gift, and that is why you are getting so much back in return, okay? So if you are not giving it as a gift, doesn't matter if you know it. Keep your mouth shut, right? Give that as a gift, all right? And not all authorities need to speak. Wow, that was magic. I didn't even do that one. All right. Okay, so I had this wonderful opportunity to speak in front of a large group of really, really important people a couple months ago, right? And they were all like 8-figure people. It was kind of intimidating, right? Because you have all these people that are really good at what they've done already and they've proven it, but now I have to go and I have to teach them. And I was expecting resistance. I knew I was going to get some, but you know what? They paid for me to be there, so I knew there was going to be some people willing to learn, right? So I get there, and there's this guy, and he's just so resistant in the whole communication process. And he says, well, what about NPCs? Does anybody know what an NPC is? Okay? It is a non-playing character, for those that don't know. And it comes from the world of gaming. So, it started with Dungeons and Dragons, for those that didn't know. All right? And then it went into the video gaming world in the 1980s. But then, we live in such a society that can be, we'll use a nice word, jerks, right? Really. So they decided to start saying NPCs to describe people they perceived as predictable or lacking independent thought. Do you know any NPCs? Oh. Do you believe you are an NPC? Well, I'm very proud of you. I'm very, very proud of you. All right, so I do not believe in NPCs. Everybody is important, okay? Doesn't mean that they're the main character in everybody's story, but everybody is important in their story. And I had a really cool conversation one time with this actor, and we were doing some lessons, and I said to him, I said, do you feel like the main character in your story? And he said, no. Do you know a majority of people don't feel like the main character in their story? How many people in here feel like the main character in their story? It's a good amount. You are. You really are. And he says to me, he says, you know what? I always play secondary roles. I'm always the walk-in or, the secondary character. He says, how am I the main character? I said, when you walk out and they say action, I said, how much do you know about your character? He says, everything. I said, but your title is busboy number 2. But what do you know about him? He's like, I know his name, I know his kids, I know everything about him. I said, that makes you the main character in your story. You know everything about yourself. And it doesn't mean that you are always going to be the authority in the story, but you are not an NPC. And that's the thing that we need to understand. When we are working with other people as leaders, we need to understand that there are no NPCs either, okay? Because we need people to achieve what we're doing, right? We rely on the CEO and we rely on the janitor. Everybody's role is important, whether we have interaction with them or not. So learning how to listen to these non-playing characters, it's going to change a lot in your story, okay? All right, so the art of listening is super important, and that's what today is all about, right? Because I could tell you how to talk. I could tell you how to do your natural voice, which is really cool, and maybe I'll give you that at the end. But I really wanted to talk to you today about listening, because listening is such an important thing. See, now it's not working. Okay, there. What? That was a lot of action, so I don't know if I skipped one. I feel like I did. Can I just check? Well, now it's not doing anything. Oh, it's you? All right, did I miss one? I did? All right. Okay, so as leaders, we must acknowledge the NPC, all right? We first acknowledge somebody, all right? That's anybody we come across, all right? We could be in a store. We could be at the office, library, Costco, whatever you want to say. Acknowledge somebody. You first acknowledge them, then you learn to care. You don't have to care deeply. I'm not asking you to meet your soulmate or your best friend or whatever at these places. I'm just saying, I think we need a little bit more caring in the world today, right? Does everybody feel that way? Yeah, super important, okay? I mean, I was scrolling through social media, and this one post I saw, it was like, I can't even fake it anymore. I hate you all. And I was like, whoa, why are you on social media? That's like that's a cry for help if I've ever heard one, okay? I think we need to just stop getting so messed up in all of these other things, right? And we need to just care. How are you doing today? I don't care what you saw on the news. I don't care what happened on the road today in traffic or anything like that. I want to know about you. How are you? right? When we start doing that, we get to learn a little bit more about people. But guess what? We also get to learn a little bit more about ourselves. And it really is a nice mirror to look at, because either you're going to like what you see or you're not. And it's going to help you adjust to what you got to do. So remember, listen. As they're talking to you, listen, because you might learn something. If you are just listening to talk, you're definitely not learning. Oh my gosh, this story's fantastic. I went out for my birthday a couple weeks ago. Thank you. And I was at this billiard hall, and I walked up to this crowd, and I said, "Excuse me, can I put quarters down?" And they were like, "Yeah, no problem." Very nice, very sweet. So I'm standing there, and this guy says, "What do you do?" How many people hate that question? What do you do? I always ask people, what's your passion? That's really how you're going to learn about somebody. What's your passion? So I start to tell him what I do, and he cuts me off to tell me what he does. And I'm like, well, that's exciting. And I was like, excellent. And he was like, wait, I cut you off. And I was like, that's okay. That's all right. Obviously, you had something important to say. And he was like, well, what is it that you do? And I said, well, I'm a communications specialist. Oh, that's awesome. I cut you off again. Yes, you did. And the whole time, this guy, he's just trying very hard to get my number. And I was like, you can have my number if you want to be a client. How terrible is that, right? But I was like, you know what? I have to listen. I have to listen, because there's something here with this man who feels that his voice isn't important enough, that he has to keep cutting me off. Really. And it was pretty impressive that we got down to some of the nitty-gritty. And I always make this joke. I heard this joke once. We spend 70 years trying to fix the first 7. And it really comes down to a lot of that. When we look at our communication, when we look at our diets, our ethics, our traumas, it really stems from early on. So a lot of times when we're looking at the struggle that we have with communication, we need to take a look and see why. I'm not saying pull out roots. I'm saying we need to rewrite stories. Because I will tell you, standing here right now, everyone in this room has something important to say. Everyone in this room is an authority on something. And I would love to know. I really would. I would love to have a conversation with every single one of you at some point in time. And I did have a lot of conversations, and I'm very happy about that. But everybody has a story, and everybody is their own main character. So how do we feel about that? Do we feel more comfortable, more confident with that? Did you need validation on that? All right. So the art of listening. I just want to tell you how important the art of listening is. And this is a fabulous story. This is one of my favorite stories. And this is probably the story that made me who I am today. Okay? And I was about 6 years old. So I was sitting there in Miss Brown's class, first grade, important year. And she hands a sheet of paper out to everybody, says, take out your crayons. I was so excited. I loved my crayons. And she says, okay, now I need you guys to listen to me. I need you to read all the directions and then do what the directions say. She says, so make sure that you are listening and reading, okay? And I was like, got this. I know how to do this, right? So I get super excited, and it says, all right, take out your crayons. Boom, they're out. And then it says, read all the directions first. All right, I get to the first one. It says, do you have the color green? Well, yes, I do. I absolutely have the color green. Favorite color, by the way. And it says, color the grass green. No brainer. Grass is green. Then it goes on, color the sky blue. Sky is blue. Boom. Sun is yellow. I could go on for days, right? I know my colors. I am rocking this shit, right? Okay. My picture, awesome. I am doing so much better than Michael, sitting next to me, who's showing me his work. I color in the lines. I'm pretty excited. So I know I'm getting an A+ on this. And then I get to the final instruction. Do not do anything. Put your crayons away and leave it all blank. I was mortified. And I was a kid that shamed myself. Anybody else one of those people? Oh my gosh. I wanted to tear that paper up. I'm telling you, and I can feel it. It all comes back to me in a second, how I felt in that moment. And I swore to myself I would never let that happen again. Because what did she say? Listen, read all the directions first. And then I read it, and I said, read all the directions first. And I did not do either of those. I messed up. And I was like, wow, it can be so easy for us to do that. You know? I mean, do we do that in our regular lives every day? How many people feel that way? Who forgot to read the directions all the way first? It hits, it hurts, man. But you know what? I'm here to tell you, you can learn from it. You really can. Because it's all about listening. And that's the thing. Every time we have a conversation, we get another chance to prove we know how to do it. How cool is that? So I'm telling you, you guys are fully capable of listening. And I know it. And it's going to make you a better person. It's going to make you a better boss. It's going to make you a better wife, sister, husband. I know we got some men in here. You know, it just makes you better to be able to do that. Because it's not about responding. It's about listening. If you're not listening to somebody, they can feel it. They really can. And it makes people shut down. So I want you all to just be better listeners, because I know you got it in you. All right. I don't know what time I started, so I'm going to do one last thing. I did it again. All right. So there is incredible value, I think we've learned this, right, in doing our proper communication skills. So improving communication skills can increase those connections, provide better networks, increase leads by 30%. You believe that? 30%. Increase profits by 20 within the first year on average, all right? And improves your personal and professional relationships, which I just said. So that is where the value is in communication. So how many people think that they talk with their natural voice in this room? Feeling pretty confident. Well, you, come on. I know you. She knows what she's doing. All right. I'm going to do a little exercise with you. All right. Let's have a volunteer. Does anybody want to volunteer? Come on up. Very good. All right, Teresa. And here she is again. Yay!
Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. All right, do me a favor. I want you to take the mic. You're going to say, hello, my name is Teresa, and tell us where you're from.
Hi, my name's Teresa, and I'm from Boulder, Colorado.
Did that feel natural? Did that? Yeah. That's how she talks. Okay. Did it feel like it was coming from anywhere specific?
Actually, felt like it was coming from my heart.
From your heart. Okay. So yeah, you were up here, down there. All right. So I'm gonna get you to do ha's again with me, okay? Because somewhere in that ha is where her natural voice lies. Because did you know when we laugh, that is when we speak the most natural voice. And the reason being, all right, body is amazing, right? And as we get older, we actually learn more vocabulary, but honestly, we're terrible at communication by the time we hit adulthood and stuff, right? So the body wants to spare itself some energy, just in case it needs to run from a bear or anything like that, right? Because it happens. It does. So we learn to talk from up here, and not where we should be talking from. Yes, right there. Power center. Yeah, okay. All right, so I want you to give me a Ha. Oh, that's so weak. Come on. Inhale. Ha. Ha. All right, again. Ha. Wow. Did you hear it? It was in there. Did you feel it? Where'd you feel it? It came all the way down. All right, you ready to give it to them? Tell them your name. Oh, here, you already started breathing. So go ahead. Ha. Yeah. Ha. Let it out. Let it out. Don't be afraid of them. Okay. All right? Don't be afraid. I'm standing next to you. Your breath does not smell. You smell like a petunia. All right? Give them a big ha. Ha. Oh, gorgeous. All right, tell them your name and where you're from.
I'm Teresa Rose Armijo, and I'm from Boulder, Colorado.
Yes. Did you feel it?
I felt it. It vibrated. I felt a reverberation down here.
So don't talk up here anymore. Talk down there. And you know what? You can do it. You can do it that easily. All right? So simple. It's just muscle memory. So if you practice by doing your ha's every day, all right? And of course, we get a little bit more, dive deeper in there, but just do your ha's. I'm telling you, it'll be life-changing.
I'm going to make Santa look like shame because I'm going to ha, ha, ha instead of ho, ho, ho.
That's right. I love it. I love it. Beautiful job. Beautiful job. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'm done. It was my pleasure. I hope you got value. All right. Thank you.